Shortly, the Chancellor, the Honourable Michael Egan AO, and the academic procession will enter the graduation hall. Once they've taken their positions on stage, Advance Australia Fair will be played, and we invite you to join in the singing of the national anthem. Would you please stand for the academic procession?
Please be seated. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite Chris Tobin, representative of the Darug people, to offer the traditional welcome to country.
We're there. Nullaway, everyone, welcome. I belong to one of the local Aboriginal families of the Darug people, the traditional custodians over this part of the country. I wish to firstly pay my respects to the country and its people, and to thank the University for their acknowledgement of us and the invitation to welcome you here this afternoon. That acknowledgement is important for our people and much appreciated. My family descend from Yarramundi, a respected elder and cleverman of the Burrabrongal clan during the early years of colonisation. He saw that our survival in this new world could best be secured if we could learn more about it, and so he enrolled his daughter, Bulgari, or Maria, into the Native Institute, a school set up in 1815 by Governor Macquarie, offering formal education to Aboriginal children. Maria studied there for several years and used her newly acquired skills to lobby and ultimately secure some land for herself and her family out along the Richmond Road. Other Aboriginal families soon joined them, and it became known as the Blackstown, where the present-day city of Blacktown gets its name. We are very proud of her, as I'm sure your families are of you here today. And with good reason. Your success is our success. Your advancement, our advancement. Now, that was probably better understood in traditional times when camps were smaller and clan groups abided by the strict sharing laws, which meant that the food that you caught and brought back was distributed throughout the rest of the camp. Your skills and good fortune were thus enjoyed by all. Your efforts literally nourished the rest of the community, and you in turn were looked after by them. Yes, we can live quite beautifully when we work together. Our Aboriginal ancestors certainly lived well in many respects, and I use occasions like this to offer them to yourselves as a benchmark or a model on how good to expect our lives today. You see, when Captain Cook arrived here a little over 200 years ago, he encountered a people whom he described as one of the happiest people he had ever met. They owned nothing but the tools they carried, made their shelters from the bark of trees without cutting them down, and harvested food from the earth without excessive tilling or clearing. Now, these were not primitive societies, these were ancient cultures. There was no slavery, no rich and poor, no rents or mortgages, no jails, and no homelessness. People cooperated to collect the resources which were needed, and then they were shared out according to strict Aboriginal law. Our lands were maintained in their natural state with fire and responsible harvesting. Our rivers and waterways kept clean and unpolluted, with people drinking out of them as they have done here for the past 20,000 years. Now remember, this is not an ideal or a dream. This was normal life, and for the longest time, and up until very recent. And there's no reason why we should accept or expect less for ourselves and our children than what our ancestors enjoyed. Admittedly, there's a lot more of us, but we're a clever people, and there's still much magic in the world. So graduates, I would say expect great and wonderful things from your life. Life is good, and we are naturally a happy people. I reckon share your gifts with the rest of us, and keep following that beautiful spirit within you that got you this far. Do this, and I'm confident that together we can put together a country and a world that we can be proud of, and a future that is worthy of our children. We can all do our bit. I'll do mine by winding up now and letting you graduate. Just want to say congratulations to all of you and all the best in our collective futures. Thank you and welcome to country.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to introduce the Chancellor of Macquarie University, the Honourable Michael Egan, OA.
Thank you, Chris Tobin, for your welcome to country. Well, graduands, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, first I want to thank all of you for coming. A graduation ceremony is an important celebration of achievement, the achievements, of course, of our graduands, but I might also say of the university as well. So it's very good that you're here, and I'm very grateful that you are. I also want to especially thank those of you who have brought children with you. It's good for them that they're here because their memories of today and of the importance of today may one day be the thing that inspires them to emulate the successes of today's graduands. And their presence is also good for us because every celebration is enhanced by the presence of children. Now, unless children have changed enormously since I was a child, few of them will be able to stay quiet or still for the duration of a graduation ceremony. And I don't expect them to, I don't want them to, and I don't want parents to worry if they don't. They are most welcome, and please let them run around and make as much commotion as they like. And if we have any little babies here, in fact, it always amazes me, the mums and dads with little children strategically position themselves at the back so that they can beat a hasty exit as soon as the first noise is made. You don't have to do that. I'm used to all sorts of noises. I spent 25 years in Parliament, so I can put up with any noise that any baby can make. But in any event, what we've found over the years is that if a baby cries throughout a graduation ceremony, they're back within 25 years to take out their first PhD. So it's a very good sign. Well, now, the most important thing today is that our graduands have a great day, and you'll only have an enjoyable day if you all relax. Most of you do look relaxed, but one or two don't. One or two look as though you're about to go into the exam room rather than collect a degree. Let me assure you, nothing can go wrong today. Well, that's not quite true. Sometimes people trip when they're up here, and that's okay. That's why we've got all these people dressed up to the nines. Their job is to pick you up and send you on your way. So just sit back and enjoy the day, because you deserve to. You deserve to take pride, great pride, in your graduation. Completing a degree is never easy. You need an intelligent and inquiring mind. You need determination and perseverance, and you need to make many sacrifices. So welcome and congratulations to each and every one of you. I also want to congratulate all of you who are here today as the guests of our graduands, because if you think about it for just a moment, the very fact that you've been invited by one of our graduands to share one of the great days of their lives is proof positive that you've been very important in their lives and in the successes that we celebrate today. And I don't want you to think either that observing today's graduation is the end of your role. I have another important service for you to perform for our newest graduates, as they will soon become. I want you to make sure that the degrees they receive today are never ever put in a bottom drawer, but are always proudly displayed in a position of prominence. In other words, if our graduands are too self-effacing or shy to proclaim their own success and achievement, you make sure that you do it for them. Now, the ceremony that we're about to participate in is one of the world's oldest social rituals. For centuries, graduates have been donning robes just like the ones our graduands are wearing today, and participating in ceremonies just like this one. Indeed, there are some 50 universities in the world which can trace their history back more than 500 years. Now, Macquarie, of course, is not one of them. We're only a very young university. We celebrated our 50th anniversary in 2014. We proudly take our name from Australia's greatest colonial governor, Governor Lachlan Macquarie, a man whose greatness and achievements were never acknowledged by his contemporaries, but only by history. Those of us who went to school in New South Wales were taught that Macquarie was a great builder, and that's true, he was. But his greatest legacy had nothing to do with bricks and mortar. His greatest legacy was the ethos he established, much to the annoyance of the British authorities of the time, of an egalitarian society, because it was Macquarie's insistence that in this fledgling convict colony there be no distinction between the free and the freed that was the foundation of the Australian notion of a fair go for all. And that is a legacy that here at Macquarie we will always aim to maintain and honour. After our first 54 years, we now have more than 184,000 Macquarie graduates living in 142 countries. Macquarie is a very modern and outward-looking university. We're now ranked in the top 2% of the world's universities. From our beginnings, we have defied the traditional boundaries of academia. We've pioneered and continue to pioneer learning and teaching approaches that challenge conventions and shift thinking. Our students play a major role in their own learning and are empowered to guide what and how they learn. We're also research pioneers. Our framework for the future, world-leading research with world-changing impact, is brought to life by renowned researchers whose bold and innovative solutions to issues of global significance are of enormous benefit to the world we live in. And that, by the way, is not an idle boast. I'm sure almost everyone in this room today at some stage uses Wi-Fi. Well, now, Wi-Fi was developed not at Stanford University or Harvard or Oxford or Cambridge or even Sydney or Melbourne or the ANU. No, Wi-Fi was developed by Macquarie University scientists in conjunction with scientists from the CSIRO, and that's something we're very proud of. And I might say that the research that's currently underway at Macquarie is no less significant. I'm sure all of you will be aware of the very recent death of Professor Stephen Hawking, a brilliant scientist and a marvellous and inspiring man. The disease he fought almost all of his life was motor neurone disease, and I'm very proud to say that our Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences is at the forefront. In fact, I think it's fair to say we are the Australian leader in helping to find a cure for that dreadful disease. And believe it or not, thank you. And I don't know whether you've noticed in the media today the reports of the shark attacks in Western Australia. It seems that we're having more and more shark attacks around the Australian coast every year. Well, one of our researchers, or some of our researchers I should say, are even working on an innovation that will prevent shark attacks on surfers. They have tried to explain the science to me, but I've got to say I don't understand it. But it's got something to do with the fact that sharks are colourblind. So I'm sure that that invention will be something that all of the young surfers all around Australia will be very grateful for, and indeed around the world. In fact, we have countless research projects underway, all of which have enormous potential to add to the world's knowledge and well-being. We're also proud of some of our new or relatively new facilities, including our Australian Hearing Hub, our library and our hospital. We're the only university in Australia which owns and operates our own hospital. But we do have a lot more to do to make sure that all of our facilities are fit for purpose. And that's why when you arrived today, you may have thought for a moment that you were visiting a war zone. That big hole in the ground behind me outside is the site of our new central courtyard, which will house new food and beverage facilities, other social and study areas, as well as on-campus student accommodation. A little further away, our arts faculty building, one of our oldest, has been completely gutted and will be replaced by a new arts precinct, which will also include new spaces for our superb museums and galleries. So we're looking forward and we're on the move. Here at Macquarie, we have a very clear and straightforward mission, and that mission is to transform people's lives and to improve the lives not just of our own students, but also of people all around the globe, by the work and achievements of our graduates and by the fruit of our research. We want Macquarie always to be a leader in teaching and learning and a leader in the accumulation of knowledge and understanding. In other words, an ideal community of scholars. And graduands, in just a few minutes, it will be my very great honour to confer your degrees upon you and welcome you as lifelong members of that community of scholars we proudly call Macquarie University. Well, now, graduands and ladies and gentlemen, it's now my great pleasure to introduce our occasional speaker, Mr. Mark Duffy. Mark has had a diverse working life, including music composition and performance, economics, industrial relations, workers' compensation, superannuation, energy, transport, planning, water, resources, utilities, sustainability, state development and the law. In February 2017, Mark was appointed as the Chief Executive of the South Australian Department of State Development after joining the South Australian Public Service in April 2016 as that state's first Chief Economist in the Department of the Premier and Cabinet. Immediately prior to joining the South Australian Government, Mark worked as a solicitor in Sydney for 2 years. Over the previous 25 years, Mark held various roles within the New South Wales Government, including Director General in the Department of Water and Energy and Deputy Director in the New South Wales Trade and Investment. Mark has degrees in law and economics, as well as a master's degree in arts. Mark also completed a British Council scholarship at the London School of Economics and has a graduate diploma in legal practice. In the interest of full disclosure, I should point out that Mark worked for me as one of my Chiefs of Staff almost 30 years ago. I now invite Mark to deliver the occasional address. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mark Duffy.
Thank you, Chancellor. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and most importantly, today's graduands. I have not delivered an occasional address before, so I feel very privileged, and it's a triple treat for me today because my daughter is graduating. So, as a parent, I have a genuine sharing with you today of the emotion and pride that you feel at such an important milestone for graduates and their families, and I congratulate you all. The completion of a degree is a great personal accomplishment and a milestone shared by parents, siblings and friends who have been part of your success. It wasn't all yours alone. In the next few minutes, I want to run through 10 ideas that resonate with me after a little experience outside these hallowed walls. And some of these I'm guilty of, and you can guess as we go along which ones they are. But I confess the first one I'm very guilty of. So this is beware the arrogance of youth combined with a bachelor degree. It can encourage an unjustified sense of self-importance. Consider the words of American writer, historian and philosopher Will Durant, who wrote, "The institutions, conventions, customs and laws that make up complex structure of a society are the work of 100 centuries and 1 billion minds, and one mind must not expect to comprehend them in one lifetime, much less in 20 years. Or to put it another way, you need to recognise the non-universality of your particular discipline and be open to the possibility that the world cannot be fully explained or understood through any single or even all disciplines." There is a parable that I learned a long time ago, and it should be used more often: the blind men and the elephants. A group of blind men were told that an elephant was in the village and they didn't know what an elephant was, so they went to touch the elephant. The first blind man touched the trunk and said it's like a thick snake. Another one touched its ear and said it's like a fan. Another, whose hand was on its leg, said the elephant is a pillar, like a tree trunk. Another, who felt its tail, described it as a rope. The last felt its tusk, stating that the elephant is hard and smooth like a spear. Simply put, your subjective experience can be true, but that such experience is inherently limited by its failure to account for other truths or a totality of truth. Number 2, the importance of searching for your passion and pursuing it with passion. 2 months ago in Adelaide, we hosted a guest from the United States, an African-American woman called Dr. Crystal Johnson, who was here to talk to women in particular about the importance of STEM in their career options. She wanted to be an astronaut. She watched with her parents the Apollo 11 moon landing, and she declared to her parents that she wanted to emulate the feats of Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins. Their response was that you can do anything you put your mind to. Their encouragement helped Dr. Johnson realise the motto that has guided her career: If it's to be, it's up to me. I have to make it so. She went through all of the courses, got through her high school, she got all the way to the astronaut's hatch when she realised she was claustrophobic. That did not deter her, and the now Deputy Director for Technology and Research Investments at NASA's first space centre, Goddard, assumed that role after a stint at the White House where she served under President Barack Obama's science advisor. The point is, your passion may not take you exactly where you thought you wanted to go, but it will take you to somewhere wonderful. Number 3, the need to be able to absorb disappointment and learn from failure. Life is a marathon and not a sprint, and the people who fail the most often become the people who succeed the most. And I might just as an aside mention the fact that you don't want to hurry through your career. Think about the sportsmen or women who peak at 26. What are they going to do for the rest of their lives in terms of getting the next high? Pat Rafter, I should say, #1 tennis player, his next career move was modelling Bond's underpants. Number 4, the importance of defining career very widely to include non-work aspirations, family and friends. This should be said more often. Your career will not be visiting you in a nursing home or joining you later in life on one of those European river cruises. Your job is part of the journey, it's not the whole story. Number 5, the importance when working with others of sharing the credit and not overstating or asserting your primary role, which leads me on to one of my most important warnings about life in the modern workplace. Beware of sociopaths. I am not a psychologist, and it's not always easy to see a psychopath or a sociopath in the first instance, but it is worth recognising that at some level on the spectrum they are out there. Signs and symptoms are many, but sociopaths are social predators. Signature traits of sociopathy are a lack of empathy and a disregard for societal norms. A sociopath is someone who cares only for themselves and lacks the ability to treat others as human beings. A sociopath is someone who is antisocial with no conscience, ignores reality to make their own uncaring and selfish life. Sociopaths can wreak havoc on your working lives and your psychological well-being. Study the signs. There are ways of managing them. Number 7, this is my escalator metaphor. It's a pretty simple one. When you're going up the escalator, the way you treat people is the way you'll be treated when you're going down the escalator. In other words, it pays to be nice to the people on your way up, for they are the same people you will meet on the way down. Number 8, the importance of reputation. As Warren Buffett notes, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about that, you do things differently. People take their reputations very seriously. And the Chancellor has referred to research. This is a very important, interesting piece of research done in the University of North Carolina, which set out to study the importance of reputation across a range of nations and cultures. In a survey that ran in 100 countries, more than 150,000 participants rated moral reputation as more important than any non-moral value other than physical security, and well above being rich or having an exciting life. In a range of hypothetical settings, the researchers observed that participants, given a choice between a year in jail with a clean reputation afterwards and perpetually being seen as a criminal by their community, 40% of those people chose to go to prison. Or going through life with a prominent swastika tattoo without being able to explain why to everyone, taking you as a neo-Nazi, and having your dominant hand amputated, 70% chose to have their hand amputated. Immediate death and living to be 90 but with a reputation of being a pedophile that you would be unable to disprove. 53% chose death at once. The average age of the participants was 35, so this represents a very significant decision. Now, they're questionnaires, of course, but I think they show you across cultures that your reputation is very important, and of course you don't fully control that reputation. So it's very important that the people you deal with, you build some capital in the event that something hits you from the left or right side, that there are people who are prepared to stand by you when others are throwing things at you. Number 9, one cliche that I have to throw in. You have just reached base camp 3 of your personal journey up the knowledge Everest. As much as you may currently be exhausted by books and learning, lifetime learning is here to stay if you want to succeed in your climb. Finally, treat everyone who talks to you with a defining list with great scepticism and always rely heavily on your own judgment and intuition. Congratulations to each and every one of you today, your graduation, and as you leave this ceremony with your parchment in hand, please bask in the temporary importance of your achievement. I wish you every success. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mark, for a great occasional address and 10 pieces of very, very good advice. I'd like to just emphasise his number 1 advice, which basically is don't ever think you know everything or that you ever will. Hopefully, as you go through life, you will improve your understanding of things, but you'll never know everything, and it would be a pretty horrible world if you did. And also, it is true too that you don't always end up where you want to be or where you thought you wanted to be, because life takes you on various paths, but if you stick at it, you are, as Mark said, more than likely than not to end up in a wonderful place. I might say, Mark told me a story just before we came here this afternoon, and I don't know, this may well be the first graduation ceremony that Mark's ever attended or participated in, notwithstanding the fact that he has a number of degrees. He told me when he got his first degree at the University of Adelaide, he was 5 minutes late for the graduation and they wouldn't let him in. But his mother and grandmother were in the audience, and as they went through the alphabet, the A's and the B's and the C's, and they got to the D's, his mother and grandmother were craning their necks forward to see where their son and grandson was. He wasn't to be seen anywhere. He was up there looking over the parapet, and I suppose he was tempted to call out, "Mum, here I am, here I am." But anyway, he did get his degree at the end, which is good news for everyone. So I think Mark deserves another great round of applause. Well, now, I told you earlier that there was nothing for you to worry about, but we now come to the key part of the ceremony, the conferring of degrees, the reason we're here, and it's the one part of the ceremony that makes me just a trifle nervous. Because I was told many years ago by a former Chief Justice of New South Wales, someone I went to university with way back in the middle of the last century, that if I conferred a degree on someone who was not eligible to receive it, it was very, very, very difficult, if not impossible, for me to take it back. So I have to make sure that before your degrees are conferred on you, that you are actually eligible to graduate today. And I have to make sure also that none of you were ever late for a class, and that none of you ever skipped a class, and none of you were ever late in submitting an assignment. So I'm going to ask the registrar to give me all of those assurances.
Chancellor, I certify that all of the candidates being presented here today and those who are absent have satisfied the requirements of the Academic Senate for the degrees they are to be awarded. Now, would all candidates for admission to degrees please stand?
That's you, yes, that's right. Graduands, in the name of the Council of Macquarie University and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit each of you present and those who are absent to the degrees for which you have qualified. Graduates, congratulations.
Please be seated. Chancellor, the graduates at this ceremony are from the Faculty of Arts. I now call upon Professor Martina Mollering, Executive Dean of the Faculty of Arts, to present the graduates. Professor Mollering.
Chancellor. Students and staff in this faculty work together within and across disciplinary boundaries to ask questions about socially complex problems. They identify paths of research, analyze and communicate ideas in creative formats, and reflect on the skills and knowledge they will need to understand the world, past, present, and future. Students are encouraged to use their skills and talents to connect with local and global communities. This faculty includes research and study areas in ancient history, anthropology, English, Indigenous studies, international studies, law, media, music, communication and cultural studies, modern history, politics and international relations, philosophy, sociology, and security studies and criminology. Chancellor, I present to you the graduates from the Faculty of Arts whom you have admitted to degrees. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts. Amanda Andrea Albornoz. Genevieve Armstrong. Chiara Elizabeth Benesky. Ellen Louise Borg. Lara Francesca Buttaggi. Romy Lee Bradridge. Victor Brosset. Chu Ling Tsai. Catherine Louise Campbell. Yannick Carroll. Chelsea Laura Champion. Ellie Irene Charman. Edmund Chinnis. Deandra Corallo. Katarina Cvetko. Isabelle Elena Iris Damour. Natalie Suzanne de Vera. Marco Cortuo. Catherine Duffy. Michael Timothy Evangelidis. Samantha Lee Farrell. Thomas Brand. Sarah May Garnett. Fiona Isabel Gett. Danielle Gendron. Melissa Gibson-Darling. Sean Kentaro Grace. Chen Guo. Portia Brianna Hackett. Chloe Haywood Anderson. Birgit Hogan. Marina Ito. Matthew Edward Jepson. Leanne Cherie Kelly. John Robert James Kennedy. David Kerr. David Barry Kinchington. Naomi Kral. Angelica Dorothy Cross. Nina Lazar. Kake Leong. Jane Luxton. Lena May McGregor. Gemma Michelle Ma. Jeremy Steer Martin. Hannah Louise McLaughlin. Matthew John Phillips. Alexander Henry North Piggott. Jordan David Romagnolo. Samantha Kyung-hee Stroud. Tess Alana Watterson. Matthew Eric Webb. Thomas West. Brittany Carey White. Amy Woods. Bishia She. Jing Yang. Jianju Ye. Victoria Ting Zheng. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts Media, Liam Patrick Lowick McGlinchey. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of International Studies, Gabrielle Bieser. Anna G. Wei Chung. Wesley Cheng. Nathan Roy Dizon del Rosario. Grace Delfendal. Jude Anthony Dominello. Samantha Teresa Garcia. Megan Victoria Grimley. Ki Bom Han. Lachlan Hanrahan. Nayoon Alice Kim. Ewan Moyle. Scott Christopher Mullock. Patrick Barry James O'Malley. Amy Samantha Pissot. Hayden James Potter. Marina Shayanoda. Lani Stewart. Megan Elizabeth Stewart. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Planning. Stephen Lee Quinn. Gabriella Josephine Ricciuti. Michael Stephen. Joel Stewart. Lyle Temlin. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Social Science. Monica Cusack. Danielle Ether. Alicia Gates. Courtney Ann Haddon. Hannah Elizabeth McGee. Sky Ashley Marie Rayner. Sherry Ann Samuel. I present diplomats awarded the Diploma of Languages. Anne-Marie Adamson. Jessica Louise Biernacki. Adriana Valentina Zdela. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of International Communication with the Master of International Relations. Tony Lotte Chan. Joshua Michael LeBlanc. Taran Raushan Ahmed Tony. Chen Jun Wang. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Translation and Interpreting Studies with the Master of International Relations. Quan Liu. Lei Wan. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Environmental Planning. Joel Duncan Herbert. John Keith Yago. Jia Ying Sun. I present the graduates admitted to the degree of Master of International Communication. Guang Tao Ge. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Master of International Public Diplomacy. Carla Nadine Zuluaga. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of International Relations. Sam Edward Peter Gibbons. Ali Ozan Kögers. Alicia Lauren McWhirter. Annabelle Johnstrup Simpson. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Politics and Public Policy. Jasmine Marie Bidois. Michelle Chung. Sonia Marie Dalitz, who has been awarded the Macquarie University Award for Academic Excellence. Jack Andrew Morrison. Aaron Lindsay Pillen, who has been awarded the Macquarie University Award for Academic Excellence. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Sustainable Development. Maria Yukov. Gertrude Mosen-Geleshi. Stephen Anthony Ralph. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Master of Research and the University Medal for Modern History. Jodie Musgrove, for a thesis entitled Iris Chang and the Trauma of the Rape of Nanking. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Master of Research with Distinction. Dragana Stosic, for a thesis entitled A Functional Approach to Teaching English Tenses to Speakers of Other Languages, the Case of Teaching English to Adults in Serbia. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Research. Fatima Aftab, for a thesis entitled Challenges to Nationhood in Post-Colonial States, the Case of Pakistan. Rachel Allerton, for a thesis entitled Spiritual Pregnancy and Holy Women, Exploring the Mystical Maternity of Saint Brigitte and Joanna Southcott. Victoria Jennifer Bell, for a thesis entitled Are We Turkish or Are We German? Exploring the Identity Crisis of Turkish Gastarbeiter in Turkish-German Film. Dominique Joseph Caron, for a thesis entitled Not Every German is a Nazi, but a Jap is a Jap. Differentiation in US AAF bombings of Germany and Japan. Jack Macaulay Clear, for a thesis entitled Warfare of the Most Dreadful Description, a comparative study of settler colonial violence in Connecticut and Tasmania. Daniel James Comensoli, for a thesis entitled its plebiscite or nothing, cultural and symbolic strategies of the religious right in Australia's same-sex marriage debate. Alicia Catherine Fairman for a thesis entitled The Final Agreement and Sustainable Peace Between the FARC or FARC and the Colombian Government. Lana Jane Frost for a thesis entitled Examining Diverse Understandings of Social Justice and Planning for Sea Level Rise, a case study of Lake Macquarie, New South Wales. Abby Hartman for a thesis entitled In War, Not Everyone is a Soldier, Using Games to Teach an Empathetic Version of History. Alexandria Emma Hawkins for a thesis entitled Reconstructing a Life, an examination of female Jewish Holocaust survivors' life writing. Daniel Luke Martin for a thesis entitled Creolization, Ethnicity and Effective Economies, an examination of Chagossian identity under the changing circumstances of life in Mauritius. Harriet Tasmin Nawal for a thesis entitled Engaging in More Than Conservation in Multi-Species Cities, a study of One Central Park, Sydney. Jessie Negro for a thesis entitled Fabricating a Steel City. Tyler Jade Ryder for a thesis entitled Coping with Chronicity, Exploring Women's Experiences Living with Autoimmune Diseases that Fluctuate and Flare. Nicole Starling for a thesis entitled Apostle of Temperance, John Saunders and the Early History of the Temperance Movement in New South Wales. Aaron Lee Young for a thesis entitled I Am the Dark and the Dark Can't Bring Me Down, Community, Agency and Discourse in the New York City Metal Scene. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dr. Sunita Chaudhry for a thesis entitled Paristitiki Sewa, a critical analysis of ecosystem services discourse in Nepal. Dr. Michelle Della Giacomo for a thesis entitled Public Policy and Services, Rethinking the Approach to Carers and Their Dependents. Dr. Ioannis Kalatzidis for a thesis entitled The Relationship Between Working Memory and Creative Processes, Evidence of the Elaboration of Creative Strategies in Semantic Encoding. Dr. Daniela Edmond-Knapton for a thesis entitled Tory Political Theory and the Monarchy and Some Predecessors of Disraeli and in His Silver Fork Novels. Dr. Miriam Neigert for a thesis entitled New Perspectives on Older Language Learners, a mixed method study on the temporal self of young old EFL learners in Germany. Dr. Cameron Bruce Nunn for a thesis entitled Children in Chains, Juvenile Male Convictivism and the Juvenile Male Convictism and the Formation of Subjectivity, Carter's Barracks and Point Pure. Dr. Thomas Wilkuczewski for a thesis entitled The Uyghur Community in Turkey, Nostalgic Pan-Turkism, Ethno-Nationalism and Political Adjustments. I present the graduate from the Faculty of Business and Economics, admitted to the degree of Master of Accounting Professional, Marif Hasnain Safin. Chancellor, that completes this afternoon's presentation of the graduates from the Faculty of Arts.
Chancellor, I call on Dr. Daniela Knapton, who has graduated today with a Doctor of Philosophy, to speak on behalf of the graduating group. Dr. Knapton.
Good afternoon, Chancellor, members of the University, fellow graduates and guests. There are some times in your life when you are suddenly placed in a position of taking stock. Being asked to speak today created that situation for me. In reflecting on my time at Macquarie, I realised that I have been associated with the university and specifically with the Faculty of Arts for over 20 years. I was very young at the time. So my involvement includes an undergraduate doing my BA, then as a postgrad completing a master's, and in an extended moment of madness, 2 doctorates. Frighteningly, a back-of-the-envelope calculation showed me that I have, during my time at Macquarie, spent 832 hours in lectures, tutorials and seminars, completed 36 subjects across 7 disciplines including literature, politics, languages, statistics, business, sociology and mass communications. I have borrowed or bought 1,224 books. I have 2 mortgages. And I have written more than 300,000 words in assignments, exam papers, articles, theses, and over the years that has come to 300,000. So I would like to start by thanking the academics here today, most notably Honorary Associate Professor Geoffrey Hawker, my supervisor, as representatives of all of those academics who have had the very mixed experience of reading and marking those 300,000 words over that period of time. Thank you. What also gave me pause was how very fortunate I have been in where my study in the Faculty of Arts has taken me. Many of you are on the threshold of new and inspiring careers in a range of fields as a result of your achievements which have been recognised today and for which I congratulate you. Given that I completed my BA, shall we say, a very long time ago, I am looking in retrospect at what my education at Macquarie has enabled. When I am mentoring tertiary students at key decision points of their education and careers, the question of where one can go with an arts degree often arises. My answer is that there are few places it can't take you, and cite the following professions and industries: project management, change consulting, government policy and strategic advice, teaching, communications across IT, banking, legal, consulting, retail and health services. And that is only from my own experience. Others have travelled further, climbed higher, achieved more. I believe that our careers are adventures that we embark on, full of anticipation, seeking challenges and excitement, crowded with new people and opportunities. Ultimately, my time at Macquarie has given me both aspiration and inspiration in my own career adventure, and I believe that the Macquarie Lighthouse symbolises that beautifully. My engagement in higher education has quite simply enabled me to do more and to be more. As an academic, a people leader, a mentor, and a parent. And on that note, I would like to thank my own parents for creating opportunities they never had themselves, and long before we ever knew lifelong learning was a thing, fostering a love of learning that has yet to wane. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Daniela, on your speech and also on your second PhD. And you have some very proud parents here, and they should be very proud of you too. It is true that an arts degree can take you many places. In fact, I'm an arts graduate, and I've been always very grateful that I did do an arts degree. Now, just because you've got 2 PhDs doesn't mean you can't get a third or a fourth. We do actually have one academic here in the Macquarie Graduate School of Management who I think's already chalked up 4. That's a challenge. That's a challenge. I think she deserves another great round of applause. And by the way, if every graduate can leave here with aspiration and inspiration, as Daniela has, that means Macquarie University and your studies here have been very, very successful. Thank you. Well done.
Thank you.
Well, no, that wasn't too bad, was it? That glorious voice, ladies and gentlemen, belongs to Angela Brewer. And we're very, very fortunate at Macquarie University that Angela sings at most of our graduations. Sometimes she can't make it for one reason or another, and we're very fortunate that today was one of those occasions when she could make it, because when she can't, I do the singing. I think Angela deserves another great round of applause. And so to our fantastic musicians, Dr. James Forsyth over there on the organ. And our trumpeter, Melanie McLaughlin. And sitting over there and over here are some of our alumni volunteers who come along to our graduations to make sure that everything runs smoothly, and they do an absolutely fantastic job. I'm sure you'd like to thank them too. And sitting behind me, of course, are representatives of our academic community who have been very important in your journey here at Macquarie. I'm sure you'd like to thank them too. Well, graduates, this ceremony marks the end of one stage in your relationship with Macquarie University, but it is certainly not the end of your association with Macquarie. From today on, for the rest of your lives, you are part of the bigger Macquarie family, which is our alumni, and part of the network of over 184,000 Macquarie alumni spanning the globe. We'll keep in touch with you through our alumni program, which is focused on lifelong learning, lifelong support and lifelong connections. Our commitment to you is to help you keep in touch and engaged with Macquarie throughout your life. And please, graduates, do make sure that you come back to Macquarie either to undertake more study or attend alumni events, use our aquatic and fitness facilities, or even, if you like, just to take a stroll through our lovely campus or enjoy a picnic down by the lake. Well, now, graduates, the award of a university degree carries many opportunities and privileges, but like all privileges, it also carries responsibilities. Believe it or not, you, each and every one of you, can change the world. And you don't have to be a Nobel Prize winner to do it either, because almost everything you do in your homes, in your workplaces, and in your communities matters and can make a huge difference. The consequences of every effort, every action, large or small, can reverberate throughout society, through the decades, indeed the centuries. Even something as simple as a kind word or a kind gesture can often be the spark that ignites a great life or a great career or a great achievement. So as Chancellor of Macquarie University, I charge you to use what you have learned, not only for your own benefit, but also for the benefit of the world we live in. I charge you to use the skills and knowledge you have acquired with rigour and integrity, and to commit yourselves to a program of lifelong learning and inquiry. I charge you to recognise the worth and dignity of all people, particularly those who have not had the opportunities that you've enjoyed. I charge you to set high goals and to continue the hard work that has brought you so far. I charge you, wherever you go, go with all your heart. And in all you do, I charge you to uphold the good name of Macquarie University. Now, graduates, I hope also that you'll always remember the people who have helped you along the way, many of whom, of course, are here with you today to help you celebrate your achievement. So to acknowledge their contribution and thank them for it, I'm now going to ask you to do a couple of things. Graduates, would you now please stand? Now I'd like you to put your degrees on the seats behind you so that your hands are free, and I'd like you to turn to face your families and your friends. And now I invite you to give them a mighty round of applause. Now, graduates, you can turn around now, but don't sit down because we'll be moving out in just a few seconds. Well, ladies and gentlemen, shortly I will lead the official party out through the centre aisle. We will be followed by all of the graduates, and then I would invite all of you to join the procession down the centre aisle, down through the campus and around to the Macquarie, where I hope you will join us for some light refreshments. We have some rather nice refreshments for the adults, and we have some even better ones for the children. We have pink lemonade, we have ice cream, and we have fairy floss. And by the way, that's available to everyone up to and exceeding my age. So I hope you all enjoy it. Would you now please stand, everyone, and please remain standing until the last graduate has processed out. Well, graduates, I wish you the very best for the future. And in the words of the old Irish blessing, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Graduates, good luck.